May 17th, 2016 is Oregon's primary election day. Welcome to People, Places, and Politics. I'm Patty Milne. Want to talk today about several things related to this primary election that is just days away. And my guest today is Michael Marsh. We're going to talk a little bit about the different parties in Oregon. And as I was counting, there are actually 7 political parties that are, I guess, active might be a way to describe them, but legally, officially recognized as major parties in Oregon. There are only 3. I'll do it in alphabetical order. The Democrat Party, the Independent Party of Oregon, and the Oregon Republican Party. And I say that as that's how they recognize themselves. And as people are getting their ballots and voting, often everyone is thinking in terms of the Democrat Party or the Republican Party. And of course, in this last year, last several months, the Independent Party of Oregon became recognized as a major party. So in these 3 parties, the voters, the registered voters in those parties should have gotten by now, their ballot with their party candidates. The primary election is all about the voters in that party, registered voters in the party, nominating their party candidate to go forward to the November election, where between parties they'll be campaigning to get the vote of everyone they can. There are these other parties, and I'm just going to run through them in alphabetical order. There's also the Constitution Party,
Yay.
Which Michael is a member of. As I said, there's the Democrat Party, the Independent Party of Oregon, the Libertarian Party of Oregon, the Oregon Republican Party, the Pacific Green Party of Oregon, and the Socialist Party USA Oregon. So one of the things we want to talk about, because you're a member of the Constitution Party of Oregon, is that your ballot looks very different than my ballot. And your candidates can go forward. But let's talk about that, because your party is a good example of one of the, could we call it a minor party? Because Democrat, Republican, Independent Party are the major recognized parties. So Michael, as a member of one of these other parties that is a functioning party, it's recognized as a party, but you don't have the same status as the Democrat, Republican, or Independent Party. So what are your choices on your ballot? How does your ballot look different from, for example, my ballot as a Republican?
Well, I won't be able to vote for any Republicans.
Yeah.
Now, I've received my ballot, but I haven't, I put it down. I'm in the middle of moving, and I've kind of temporarily lost it. So, and I've heard that I'll be able to vote for independent, but I can't say if that's true or not. And but we have our convention. We have a convention after the primaries are over, and then we take, we'll run for people for various offices, and we have it after the primary for a reason, because we want to know what the Democrats and Republicans are doing. Like sometimes we'll support a Republican. I don't think we've ever supported a Democrat.
It would be hard to imagine when you look at the principles and the purpose of the Constitution Party. Very, very different, opposite ends of the spectrum from the Democrat Party.
But sometimes we do support different Republicans, like last time we supported Art Robinson for 4th Congressional, and we supported the Republican who was running in the 3rd District Congressional. sometimes on local issues as well.
So in the primary, though, sometimes you have been a candidate yourself,
Yeah.
so you may have on your ballot a Constitution Party candidate for state representative. But what happens if you don't have a Constitution Party candidate? You could write in someone, so you've probably done that in the past.
I have done that on more than one occasion. Even before I was in the Constitution Party, I was doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on, and there are some similarities. You mentioned libertarians. Yeah, we're not, there are some major differences, but we're probably closer to them than we are. We're closer to each other than either one of us is to any of those other parties.
Well,
So,
it's interesting
I
that
voted for a
you
libertarian.
bring that up because when I was looking at, kind of refreshing my memory to talk about this today, libertarianism is a political philosophy and holds one political position. No one may initiate coercion against an innocent person. So how does that then relate to the principles, the purpose of the Constitution Party?
We pretty much have a live and let live philosophy on a lot of issues, depending on the issue. But, okay, now they don't take a stand on abortion because about half of them think a woman has the right to choose. And half of them say, hey, it's murder.
Yeah.
The Constitution Party does take a stand on abortion. We think it's murder. And, so we take that stand. On the gay marriage, our position is that the government should not be involved in marriage at all. And I suspect most libertarians would agree with that. But that's been our position even before it became an issue, is that marriage is between a man, a woman, and God. And the state has no place in it. So we oppose gay marriage.
So
We take stands on the social issues.
yeah. So in this information that I have in front of me, it says, I'm quoting, "We, the members of the Libertarian Party of Oregon, hold that all individuals have the right to exercise sole dominion over their own lives and oppose the initiation of force or fraud as a means to achieving political or social goals." So that's really this kind of hands off, do no harm. We have our individual rights. We recognize that. I'm not a libertarian. I'm putting myself. But their position is pretty much just leave us alone.
Yeah.
And let us do our thing, whatever that may be, meaning an individual has the right to do what they want to do. It goes on to say, we, however, hold that governments, when instituted, have only one legitimate function: to protect the rights of the individual. So that's pretty clear.
Yeah.
And of course, in the Republican Party, we very much agree that the Constitution is where everything comes together, and of course, the Constitution Party. The Republican preamble says, the Oregon Republican Party, to be precise, says, "We, the Oregon Republican Party, affirm that the United States of America is one sovereign nation under God, and that inalienable rights are granted to us by our Creator. These rights, as expressed in the Declaration of Independence, confirm in each individual the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We believe in the freedom and equality of every individual as set forth in and protected by the Constitution of the United States. So when you think about that, and again, that your party is the Constitution Party, and the party pledges to defend some principles here that we can go over, but basically these are principles that come out of the Constitution.
Yeah.
So these three parties, the Oregon Republican Party, the Constitution Party of Oregon, and the Libertarian Party of Oregon, all place a high value on the Constitution and the rights that we individuals have.
Yeah, we believe in individual rights, not group rights.
Right, and so while we're talking about this, let me share the Democrat Party of Oregon is very, very different. And it states, "We, the members of the Oregon Democratic Party, seek a better future for the present generation and for generations to come." Well, I don't think anybody would argue every party wants a better future. So I guess we all have that in common.
Yeah.
This platform is a guide to the principles and positions by which we intend to fulfill that commitment. So it's the party members who are going to fulfill the commitment. And this is where I see the Democrat Party really going a different direction than what we're talking about, the Constitution. We recognize our rights and responsibilities as citizens of our state, our nation, and the entire global community. We hold that every person is guaranteed the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We express our confidence that every one of us can maintain these rights while sustaining the interdependent web of life on this planet. What I find interesting in that is there is no acknowledgement that these rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, there's no reference that they come from the Constitution, which affirms that these rights are our God-given rights.
Our Creator.
So there's a real difference, a real different thought, a real different purpose in what they are wanting to pursue and protect.
Yeah, one of the major differences between us and the Democratic Party, they believe that all this can be done through bureaucratic manipulation, and that the government classes, they're all honest, they're all competent, and so therefore, and they're superior human beings, and they should run our lives and tell us how to be proper and interdependent and global and all this good stuff. And the government class has never been honest. It has never been competent. I mean, sometimes a little more honest than others, and sometimes more competent than others, but it's never happened. These superior people have never existed, except in the minds of Plato.
Yeah.
And we look at, that's why we believe in the Constitution Party that less government, the better. You know, more people should be able to make their own decisions rather than have a government make their decisions for us.
Well, the Oregon Republican Party advocates for limited government, fiscal and personal responsibility, religious liberty, free markets, and a strong national defense. And so again, there are some commonalities, but again, all of this is based on the Constitution and the recognition that our Constitution defends for us the rights that are granted to us by our Creator.
Yeah.
And your Constitution Party is very, very clear in these where I mentioned earlier that the principles and purpose, as stated by the Constitution Party of Oregon, pledge and defend the following three principles. The Creator God in heaven, made known to us through His holy scriptures, rules in the affairs of men and is the ultimate King, lawgiver, and judge of all mankind. He is to be honored and His word is to be heeded if we expect to receive His blessings on the works of our hands individually or corporately. And there, corporately means all of us working together, not a corporate. And the second principle is the family is the first and the highest civil institution designated by God to propagate, educate, and nurture human life. And the third one is God has assigned the first priority of civil government to protect innocent human life from conception to natural death, to protect freedom of conscience, and to protect private property. And then all of this goes on to explain a little bit more fully. But that's very, very clear and so specific.
And anybody who's a candidate for the Constitution Party have to sign on saying, yeah, I agree with these principles.
Yeah. And so going back to then conversely, or on the other end of the spectrum, the Democrat Party, again, they assert that the citizens of the state and the country are the government. The promise to uphold the protections granted to us, they do say, by our state and national constitutions. But they never, excuse me, I shouldn't say never. I don't see in here, would be more accurate, I don't see in here an acknowledgement or a recognition of the Constitution, capital T, capital C, Constitution of the United States of America. There's just sort of this veiled reference, almost as though it was obligatory.
And they're hoping that nobody actually reads the Constitution and compares it to what the Democrats and the Republicans, a lot of Republicans are doing.
So then this goes on to say, we stand firmly opposed to any attempt to compromise those rights and liberties in the name of governmental convenience or security. And I'm really not certain what that means. I'm not. But what really catches my attention, where those rights and liberties are not fully realized, we pledge to help everyone within our borders to regain them. They say everyone within our borders. They don't say citizens of the United States of America. They are wanting. And if I am misinterpreting this, I would like my Democrat friends to call me and say, Patty, you're not understanding what this says. But I'm reading it exactly as it's written in the party platform. Where those rights and liberties are not fully realized, we pledge to help everyone, every single person within our borders to regain them. And the use of the word regain, not to have them or have access to them, but to regain them like they've had them forever. To me, that's a little confusing. So then they say we invite all Americans, so now it's clear, all Americans, to join with us to reestablish our 2-century-old democracy. We are a republic. The United States of America is a republic, not a democracy, as a beacon of virtue and admired throughout the world. I'm reading this directly from these party platforms because when you really stop to think about, there are these six of them, parties in Oregon. Oregonians can be a member of 6 different parties if they so choose. And especially if they want to vote and if they want to fully participate in our government and have a voice and have their voice heard, they really, at least at this point in time, only have the full range of of involvement, participation, if you are a member of the Democrat Party, the Independent Party of Oregon, or the Oregon Republican Party. And so I want to go back then, having said that, to ask you, Michael, so as a Constitution Party member, do you feel that in your experience, have you had full access to fully participate
Yes.
in government? So tell us how.
Okay, for instance, in the last presidential election, I supported Ron Paul, who was running on the Republican ticket. And just, yeah, everybody in the party was supporting Ron Paul. And I was able to, I went to rallies and I went to, meet up groups and all this, because he was the person that I supported. Republican Party rejected Ron Paul. But still, I did participate. I didn't change my registration because he wasn't still a viable candidate when Oregon voted. And I was kind of disappointed in the way the conventions were held, and the couple of 5th Congressional District Convention, some of the others, there was some questionable activity on the part of the Republican establishment towards the Ron Paul group people, and that was kind of disappointing. But still, we can help out with a candidate that we want, even though we are in a different party. So, yeah.
So, but your focus really is centered on your efforts are toward the general election in November, because you're in the primary, unless you use your ballot to write in a candidate from another party. So, and I really, it's just interesting to look at the different party platforms. And one of my purposes in doing this on this show today is I think often people, particularly young people, and there's such a push right now to join one of the three major parties, the Republican Party, the Democrat Party, the Independent Party of Oregon. There's a push to join that party, and we could talk too about what has happened with the motor voter, and people now are registered to vote, but they come to find out that they aren't registered with a party. And so I want to encourage people, even though the election is just a few days away and it's too late now to change your party registration because the election is so close, but to think about it before the November general election, and to do just what I did. Go on the internet and look at all of the parties that are here in Oregon. There's the Constitution Party, the Democrat Party, the Independent Party of Oregon, the Libertarian Party of Oregon, the Oregon Republican Party, the Pacific Green Party of Oregon, and even the Socialist Party USA Oregon. And read their platforms, and read and learn and think about what being a member of this party means. And if you're behind a certain candidate in a particular party, because you're just listening to what that person is saying, and then if you read the party platform, you might find out that, what? Do they uphold the party platform issues? I mean, we could talk about...
And that is a very important issue, is like in the last election, Paul Evans in the general election talked more conservative, actually, than his opponent, Kathy Goff. He came off moderate and conservative, but he was running as a Democrat, And I saw the excitement, and I know some people that were supporting him, and I'm thinking, if he's being honest, these people would not support him, you know. And so you have to, you know, study what they're actually planning to do. Now, in the Constitution Party, and this is different from, okay, the Republican platform sounds good. I like it. And most members of the Constitution Party do like it. In fact, some of us helped write it. The problem is they don't have to, the politicians don't have to obey it. And too many do not. And they don't even pretend to support the platform. And a good example is when John McCain ran, I kind of crashed the party because I used to be a member of the Democratic Party, the Republican Party Central Committee. And so I still had friends on there, and so I went in and watched, and I agreed with the platform 100%. John McCain, who they had to support because he was a presidential candidate, didn't support anything on that platform. You know, whereas with the Constitution Party, you're getting what the platform believes, because the individual believes it. And which is why I'm in the Constitution Party instead of the Republican Party, even though we sometimes support individual Republicans.
Well, in this time we've had here today to talk about the differences in the party, I would say, as a member of the Republican Party, we do have a big tent. We have people with lots of differing opinions, and sometimes platforms can be very lengthy and detailed. And hey, my husband's a Republican. Do we agree on everything? No. But basically, we agree on limited governance and personal responsibility. And just before we close here, one thing that caught my attention. So Val Hoyle, who's a candidate for Secretary of State, right? Yes. A Democrat, has been talks a lot about getting big money out of the the campaigning. Well, there's way too much money. Campaigns cost an awful lot in Oregon. So she just accepted $250,000 from Bloomberg because of her position on gun control. And I thought, gee, her positions are very, very contrary, because in the Democrat platform, Article 5, good governance, number 2, we believe that a government of the people must not be unduly influenced by special interest, corporate power, or money. And yet she just took a historically large amount of money and, oh, well, I guess, you know, whatever works. So this is very disturbing, that a person who wants a statewide position and is very adamant about getting big money, undue influence out of the political process, has just accepted this enormous amount of money. So
not only a large amount of money, but it's not even Oregon money, it's New York money.
Yes, it's out-of-state money that the Democrats are always just so disturbed over. We're running out of time. We have run out of time. So again, in closing, read your ballot. Do a little research before the general election and look at the candidates and what the party platforms are that the party they're affiliated with. And I think it'll help all of us make better decisions at the ballot box. Thank you, Michael, for sharing the Constitution Party perspective today.
Thank you, Patty.
Thanks.
Glad to do it.